Blues legend B.B. King was known for his incredible talent and larger-than-life persona, but he also had a complicated personal life, fathering 15 children with 15 different women. After his death in 2015, his kids are in a heated battle over his estate, which could be valued at up to $40 million. But the question looms, were any of these children actually his? A recent biography claims that paternity may have been impossible for King due to infertility caused by a childhood illness and a later accident. Join us as we unpack this messy truth and explore the tangled web of King's legacy. B.B. King's estate, war, 15 kids, 15 moms, and a totally haywire fight. When blues legend B.B. King passed away at the age of 89, he left behind an extraordinary legacy that spanned over 6 decades. Known for his soul-stirring hits like The Thrill Is Gone and Sweet 16, B.B. transformed the landscape of American music, influencing a generation of rock icons, including Eric Clapton, Willie Nelson, and Buddy Guy. He died peacefully in his sleep from congestive heart failure at his Las Vegas home on May 14, 2015. However, the year that followed his passing has proven to be anything but peaceful. Despite his 2 marriages not resulting in children, B.B. King's family tree is both vast and complicated, with claims of 15 children from different women. This situation is further complicated by revelations from King's authorized biographer, Charles Sawyer. In his book, The Arrival of B.B. King, Sawyer revealed that medical professionals had found King's sperm count too low for conception. In a 2015 interview with The Guardian, Sawyer disclosed that he had offered King the chance to remove this detail from the biography, but King opted to keep it in, standing by his assertion of paternity. While King maintained he was the father of 15 children, many of whom are now embroiled in a legal battle over his estate, the complexities of their relationships are increasingly coming to light. His appointed trustee, Laverne Toney, who served as his longtime business manager, is currently managing the estate, which family members estimate could be worth between $30 million and $40 million, factoring in royalties, asset sales, and rights. Many of King's children are pointing to a 2007 will and trust that they believe grants them generous allowances. However, Toney argues that she is adhering to a 2014 trust, which mentions the children but does not specify any monetary gifts. Legal filings from the trustee in Nevada suggest that the reality of King's estate is much smaller than the children allege, with estimates hovering around $5 million spread across a few Wells Fargo accounts. In response, the children have assembled teams of lawyers to pursue their claims, with the litigation likely to stretch on for years. While the value of King's estate has become a point of contention, experts note that it is not comparable to the estate of Michael Jackson, whose worth skyrocketed by approximately $1 billion since his death. B.B. King, who wrote few of his hits and sold records during a time when the music industry was fraught with racial inequalities, did not reap the financial rewards that some of his peers enjoyed. According to an analysis by Billboard, King's publishing and recording assets, including his music catalog, are valued at roughly $7 million to $8 million based on Nielsen music data and consultations with financial experts familiar with the acquisition of publishing and master recording catalogs. B.B. King was known to have a deep love for each of his children, often providing financial support throughout their lives. He generously covered college tuition costs, visited his children during their time in prison, and established trust funds to ensure their futures. Despite his frantic touring schedule, where he frequently performed over 200 gigs a year, King managed to maintain a delicate balance within his family. However, that equilibrium shattered with his passing. In the wake of King's death, 3 additional individuals emerged, claiming to be his children as well. This development only complicated an already tumultuous situation. "My dad always told us, even when I'm gone, I'm going to take care of you," said 67-year-old Riley B. King, one of BB's sons. "But we haven't received a dime since he died. We got a lawyer, and we are trying to fight and get what belongs to us." The legal battle commenced within weeks of King's passing. Shortly after, a shocking allegation surfaced when some children publicly accused King's longtime business manager, Laverne Toney, and his personal assistant, Myron Johnson, of having poisoned him. Although these claims were serious, the accusers lacked any substantial evidence. As a result, investigators ordered an autopsy report, which ultimately found no evidence to support the poisoning claims. Consequently, the lawsuit was dismissed, but the fallout didn't end there. Johnson filed a defamation lawsuit against the accusing family members, including his own sister, Karen Williams, with the outcome still pending. These accusations created a rift within the family, dividing them between those who perpetuated damaging speculation about King's death and those who were distressed by the sensationalized tabloid coverage. In the meantime, several children began pursuing lawsuits against King's music estate, which remained in dispute. Shirley King, BB's eldest daughter, lamented, "I saw him work all his life to take care of the family, and that's what it should have stayed like. It got really bad before he left this earth, and then it just went totally haywire." B.B. King, born to sharecroppers, spent his formative years raised by his grandmother on a cotton plantation near Indianola, Mississippi. His journey from humble beginnings to becoming a music icon is nothing short of extraordinary. Over his illustrious career, King garnered 15 Grammy Awards, earned a place in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and even performed for President Obama at the White House. Despite these monumental achievements, King chose to live modestly, often traveling on a tour bus and opting for inexpensive hotel accommodations. The ongoing battle over King's estate has spiraled into chaos, a situation that may stem from his expansive interpretation of family. Known for his warmth and humility, King was not only a talented musician, but also an appealing figure to many women. His daughter Shirley reflects, "That was a good-looking man. You spend that much time being that good-looking, you can get any woman you want." His countless performances across the country led to numerous relationships, resulting in a growing number of children, some of whom claimed paternity. Shirley shares, "Every time my dad got more famous, I found out about a new sister. I was happy at first, and then nobody gets along, and I stopped being happy." This sentiment echoes through the experiences of many of King's children. His youngest daughter, Barbara, who works as a hairdresser in Texas and describes herself as between 40 and 60, recounts how her mother met King while he was passing through Shreveport, Louisiana, for a gig. "He was coming through town, and here I am." Such stories are common among his children. If a woman approached King claiming he was the father, he accepted it at face value and never sought further confirmation. King maintained friendly relationships with many of the mothers of his children, embodying the belief that familial bonds were more important than the circumstances of their formation. Barbara emphasizes, "It didn't matter how we got to be a family. It was that we were a family. He made sure we knew he loved us." Despite his demanding schedule and the challenges of a sprawling family, B.B. King always found time for his children, embodying the principle of family loyalty. His son, Riley B. King, who spent 5 years in prison during the early 2000s for drug dealing, fondly recalls his father's unwavering support during his incarceration. B.B. visited Riley 3 times behind bars, and their reunions were marked by an affectionate ritual. They would kiss on the lips. Riley reflects, "People looked at us strange, 2 men kissing. But he'd say, 'I love you.' He never missed a birthday. He never missed a Christmas. We were tight." Barbara King shares her memories of a father who was both hard-working and fun-loving. She recalls their family moments filled with laughter, where they would enjoy watching westerns together, savoring delicious soul food, and engaging in friendly competition during his favorite card game, spades. Even for those who didn't see him as often, like Claudette Robinson King, a talented singer in her own right, BB was a generous figure who shared both his resources and his reputation. Claudette remembers him saying, "Show the gift that God has given you and remember you're B.B. King's daughter. The name means a lot. It opens doors for me." As BB aged and his health began to decline, his generous spirit became more measured, as noted by his grandson Christopher, a former Marine turned motivational speaker and entrepreneur. Christopher reminisces about a time when he watched his grandfather count out $180,000 in cash on a hotel bed, some of which BB then shared with family members in need. However, Christopher also observed that the ongoing disputes among family members weighed heavily on King. "It upset him sometimes," Christopher recalls. "He would say, 'It's family, son, period. We gotta take care of the family.'" B.B. King, who battled diabetes, began experiencing health issues like hypertension and arthritis as he got older. In 2007, he entrusted his medical care to Laverne Toney, who had been by his side for 40 years. By 2011, he also handed over control of his business affairs and granted her power of attorney. As his health declined, King started to worry about the future of his musical estate. "He would often tell me, 'Those that have eaten while I live will not eat when I'm gone,'" Christopher recalls. He was gradually cutting things off as he aged because he wanted his estate to thrive after he was gone. Now the specifics of how King intended for his estate to be divided have sparked ongoing legal battles. Just before his death, his daughter Karen Williams filed a motion in a Las Vegas court to have herself appointed as his legal guardian, seeking to replace Tony. In her lawsuit, Williams claimed that Tony and Myron Johnson had misused their roles as King's trusted confidants, leading to his declining health, the disappearance of hundreds of thousands of dollars, and the theft of personal items from one of King's storage units. According to court documents, Williams alleged that Tony had been taking Mr. King's assets for her own use or for the use of her family. The lawsuit also accused Tony of neglecting King's medical needs, stealing from his accounts, and keeping family members from visiting him. These serious allegations prompted investigations by both the Las Vegas Police Department and the city's Aging and Disability Services Division, but both found no evidence to support Williams' claims and dismissed them entirely. Meanwhile, Eric Brent Bryson, an attorney representing Laverne Toney, discovered a publicly available birth certificate revealing that Karen Williams is not biologically related to B.B. King. Williams did not respond to requests for an interview. Additionally, Myron Johnson provided a sworn affidavit backing Toney and disputing his sister's claims. In court documents, Johnson stated that he had personal knowledge of instances where Williams manipulated King into giving her money. Bryson also presented affidavits from King's personal physician and dentist, both affirming that Toney and Johnson had always acted in King's best interests. Laverne denies any wrongdoing, and the children have never been able to prove otherwise, Bryson explained. Regarding the allegations of stolen items from King's storage, Toney acknowledged that there had been a theft, but claimed that King had specifically asked her not to file a police report because he suspected that family members might be involved. Some of King's children were taken aback by Karen's approach. "How can you accuse someone of murder without any proof?" Christopher questioned. However, in recent months, others have come together to challenge Toney, insisting that King would have wanted his family to be better taken care of, especially financially. "Laverne and Myron are controlling everything," Shirley said. "They're fighting some of the kids using my dad's money. How ridiculous is that?" Barbara added, "The poisoning rumors? Yeah, that was a tough time filled with a lot of pain, but I believe it will all get sorted out in the end. We all support and love each other." Even Christopher, who claims to have no issues with Toney, wants the trust's value reassessed. $5 million is nowhere near what he's truly worth. All this turmoil has seemingly led to the very outcome that B.B. King sought to prevent: a fractured family. "It's split the family," says Riley, King's son. "A faction has emerged. which Riley and others refer to as a committee, formed to challenge Laverne Toney in court. He notes that there are at least 4 factions currently engaged in various lawsuits against Toney, all filed in Nevada. James King, BB's nephew, points out that the conflict has largely split along geographic lines, with an LA crew mostly supporting Toney and a Vegas crew opposing her. Even though we have different lawyers, they're coordinating efforts to bombard Laverne with as much paperwork as possible, Riley explains. This may indicate that family members believe Toney will eventually have to give ground. Bryson, Toney's attorney, asserts that she is simply following the directives laid out in King's last will and testament. However, some family members claim that King had 2 wills. The situation is further complicated by the existence of 2 recognized trusts, leaving it unclear which will ultimately prevail in court. Generally, the latest document is considered to override earlier versions, but the children argue that the 2014 trust is problematic because it was finalized when King was nearly blind and experiencing cognitive decline due to Alzheimer's. They are pushing for the earlier documents to be examined and, ideally, honored. The legal system might now be offering the King family a glimmer of hope. Christopher King claims that earlier this year, a judge agreed to review the 2007 trust in court. Laverne got everything, Riley King laments. She stole everything. However, Bryson counters these accusations, insisting they are unfounded. The children and grandchildren are upset because Mr. King chose not to leave them a large sum of money, Bryson explains to THR. He had already given them a lot over the years and wanted whatever was left to go toward educating his great-great-grandchildren. Bryson also adds that King's hard work resulted in a far smaller fortune than some family members believe. It's nowhere near what some relatives are claiming. Even if the earlier documents are reviewed, it's likely that some of King's children will remain dissatisfied. According to Christopher, who has seen the 2007 documents, only a portion of King's descendants are named in that trust. I think it's very fair, he says, though he doesn't clarify who or how many of the children are entitled to what. I just want this issue to be resolved, he continues. I want him to be able to rest in peace and for all of this to be over so we can focus on other things. Looking to the future, it's possible that more claimants could emerge. Some of King's children see the family drama as a cautionary tale. Maybe if there weren't so many kids from so many different parents, things would have been different, Shirley muses. But suddenly my dad was just viewed as a bank. In recent months, 3 people have reached out to Shirley claiming a family connection. A 72-year-old man who insists B.B. King had sworn him to secrecy years ago, a claim she dismisses as absurd. A much younger woman from Florida, and a woman from Detroit who showed up unexpectedly at a memorial service last year. This last woman had reportedly been trying to contact King for some time, even sending him legal paperwork to support her claim. However, she didn't get far. King had the final say, telling her to send the paperwork back. He said he wasn't taking on any more kids, Shirley recalls. Father to 15 children. But were any of Blues star B.B. King's offspring his? A forthcoming biography by Pulitzer Prize-winning author Daniel DeVizet challenges the notion that these were his biological children, suggesting that he was sterile due to health issues and an accident. In his book, King of the Blues, The Rise and Reign of B.B. King, DeVizet shares insights from those close to King, revealing that they doubted he had any biological offspring. He noted, "The people in his inner circle told me repeatedly that they didn't believe he had any biological children. This was confirmed by his loved ones, including his ex-wife Sue, a nephew, and even his doctor." According to these sources, King's infertility stemmed from a childhood illness with mumps that led to swelling of his testicles, which were later injured by a ram on a farm. Additionally, a sexually transmitted disease he contracted in his late teens further impacted his ability to father children. Devise elaborated, "By the end of BB's second marriage, he had not fathered any children in 16 years of wedlock. Both of his wives had children with other partners." Despite his challenges, King longed for a family, especially after losing his infant brother and mother at a young age. Devise noted that King's prolific paternity claims became a part of his larger-than-life bluesman persona, something he boasted about in numerous interviews, even if it likely wasn't true. Rolling Stone has highlighted a number of legendary pop acts that wouldn't exist without B.B. King, including Jimi Hendrix and Peter Green's Fleetwood Mac. Eric Clapton even referred to King as the most important artist the blues has ever produced. The investigation into King's children will be featured in the recent biography King of the Blues: The Rise and Reign of B.B. King. In the book, author Daniel Devise notes, in his later years, B.B. would create an elaborate story around his fatherhood, admitting to his low sperm count while still claiming to have fathered several children. The reality, that B.B. likely never had the ability to father children, remained a closely guarded secret until the end. Devise also recounts a pivotal moment in King's childhood when he was just 12 years old and suffered a serious injury while playing with a ram. When the boy bent over, the ram seized the opportunity and charged, smashing its horn into King's testicles. No doctor was available, and the damaged organs had to heal on their own. B.B. King's close friend, Charles Sawyer, shared with The Observer that King once confided in him about a fertility test he received during his second marriage. In 2008, King said, "Nowadays it would be easy to test for paternity, but we didn't know about that back then. I have accepted these children, and now they are my family. I would never think to test that now." Sawyer added that King had left explicit instructions against any DNA testing after his death. King, known for his iconic song "The Thrill Is Gone," once described the blues as a problem child that you may have had in the family, emphasizing the deep love that remains despite the struggles. While he supported his children financially, their relationship was complex. Devise recounts an incident from 1996 when King organized a family reunion to quell ongoing disputes. Some of BB's children arrived with a list of others they wanted him to disown, challenging him to distinguish between his real children and the pretenders. At a large family dinner, King addressed the issue directly. "Since there seems to be an issue with some of y'all over who is and who's not," he said, "I'd like to do a DNA test if you all agree." A hush fell over the room as he explained that he wouldn't require any of his children to prove their parentage. He would support them regardless. "But I'm not going to allow you to turn on each other. So if you want to do a DNA test," he continued, "that's fine with me." In the end, no one went through with the test, and the tension subsided. Sawyer, who published King's authorized biography in 1980, is set to release a collection of photographs titled B.B. King, From Indianola to Icon next spring. After reading Devise's biography, he remarked, "It's nothing short of extraordinary." What are your thoughts on the dynamics among King's children and the implications of his unconventional family structure? We'd love to hear your insights in the comments below. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe for more in-depth content in the future. Until next time, stay tuned.